only teach this course in the fall, Professor?
It's the spring semester, yes.
Yes, I'm sorry, in the spring.
That is true. I was doing it full-time, but then nothing else was getting done. I was like just doing this all the time, and I guess to teach entrepreneurs stuff, you have to do it. You know, it's not like you talk about it, and the theory of things, you know, that's not why you took this class. You have a lot of other classes to do that in, all right? Think about, philosophize where you want to go, you know. I was in the car today, and I know that you're the nonprofit gal in the class, and there was a really good radio piece on CBS FM that was coming here, and that they were saying that nonprofits need to be much smarter when it comes to them marketing to their end users. And they gave a great example. And I was thinking about you because of the dogs, the cats, the adoption, but they gave an example of a Little League team. And that, you know, if you go to a Little League team, I had 3 kids in Little League, so I go all the time, and they have big signs for the insurance company or the local bakery or, you know, local signs. And they're saying that's not good enough anymore. The local insurance guy wants to meet the parents of the players of the team to try to get some benefit, to get some business out of the sign. So, you know, and it's something I never really thought about, teaming up with a nonprofit in some way, whether it be a shelter, if you're selling wholesale dog food and you get their member list, because you're going to give them back 10% of the profits to their, I was just talking about a radio spot I heard today on CBS, where they're talking about nonprofit organizations teaming up with for-profit companies. So it's a very interesting idea, something that I never really thought about. So how did everybody like the Super Bowl this week?
Not what I expected.
Not what you expected, right? It's a hell of an exciting game, probably the most exciting game, except for those people who fell asleep at halftime, right? And then they woke up in the morning. Not too great. Now, how many of you saw some great commercials during that Super Bowl?
Yeah.
Which one did you like?
I like the Humpty Dumpty one for TurboTax. And I also like there's a Squarespace commercial. That was really funny.
Right. Okay, who else liked commercials?
Oh, the Mr. Clean one.
Oh, yeah. That was very, very big, no doubt.
Budweiser's coming to America.
Yeah, that made a lot of noise. Certainly, I would say that that commercial made the most noise, got a lot of free media, free advertising, you know, and certainly the timing was a bit of a serendipity for them because they had no idea who was going to win the election and what happened there. So that's pretty good.
Oh, it's a sad one. Terry Bradshaw had the stain like before Trump came on.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no doubt.
You
The
seen the
time
second
was
part of
very
that?
big.
Yeah.
You know. How about the Skittles? Anybody like the Skittles spot?
No, that's funny.
That was a funny one, wasn't it?
Wix one. Wix.
Wix, yes.
Jason Statham.
Yes.
I think the girl who played Wonder Woman.
Yeah. It's going to show you, right, that everybody know what Wix is?
No.
It's
No.
like Fortune.
I don't know.
Okay, why don't you tell everybody? Who knows what Wix is?
It's like a platform that you can use to build a website for yourself. It's very easy to use. So it's, the philosophy behind this, anyone can go on Wix and build a site, whether it be for themselves, for their business, whatever it be.
And that's super important. I mean, can't be more important. And Wix is very cheap, and they may even be free for the first year
Yeah.
to try to get you to hook on, so you know you need to have that website.
They're really smart with it too, because they don't like give out your IP address unless you transfer your domain name to them. That way they have control of your site, so you can't update it. It's like a different thing without like paying them pretty much.
Really? Well, you know, when you're not able to move things, the portability of your domain name or your telephone number, that's when you run into some problems with regulators down the line. Okay? I mean, I am sure that sometime in the next year, Mr. Trump's going to set his sights on Google and on Facebook, who take all your private information, all of it, and they make money on it, giving you zero. All your great pictures, all your updates, all the time you spend on the social media, and they're making a fortune.
Yeah, like with Facebook, you can literally advertise to somebody who's living in Nebraska that makes $100,000 and more, who likes, you know, Indian food. Like you can get so specific, and it's all based on the things you like. And Facebook obviously makes you pay for those things. So big advertising companies will spend hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars on Facebook to target, you know, people that they know will most likely buy their products.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and you're on Facebook and like Google and all them, they already do that. They sell whatever you like. They sell your info to advertising companies so they can target directly to you directly, you know.
It's the first time in history that you would actually get that level. You know, the cable companies were close. Sirius is close. When you could dissect and segment things so much, you can get an exact audience.
Yeah.
And sometimes it backfires, like in the case of Coke, who thought by having 100 different flavors, God bless you, 100 different flavors of Coke, that somehow that would add, that the sum of the parts would be more than the whole. And that just wasn't the case, okay? And the beverage industry has changed dramatically. It's a business that I would greatly love to get into someday. Okay, it's one area, one thing. And people ask me all the time, what are you looking at next? What do you like? I look at things that interest me. How many of you saw the piece in today's paper about the $18 cup of coffee in Brooklyn? There's a coffee shop in Sunset Park that just opened that uses only very rare African coffee beans. And they use a special process to do it, and people are waiting out the door.
Rare.
In Sunset?
No, I mean rare.
Sure.
Special.
Special, right. No doubt. And by the way, Starbucks is testing a new type of coffee cafe with high-end coffees and special beans. There's 3 or 4 of them that are out there. So you have to expand your mind a little bit as you look at your business opportunity. Things are very rarely black and white, especially in business. There's always lots of shades of gray out there. You know, did McDonald's miss the boat by not going into a little bit of a higher end type of sit down kind of Applebee's kind of thing? Maybe, especially when you can cross promote it and give coupons back and forth, and you know, there's definitely lots of different opportunities like that are out there. Okay.
But there are also times when 2 companies work together, like in the Tostitos commercial in the Super Bowl.
Right.
And Tostitos and Uber
Right.
focus on a product subject of drinking and driving while promoting their object and service.
Yes. That's interesting too, right? You would think about that. Pairing 3 or 4 different companies because it's so expensive to advertise on the Super Bowl. So maybe you have 5 companies that were somehow related together. You know, whatever it may be, like a new kind of Kind fitness bar, you know, hooked up with a running shoe and something to that effect, and think out of the box.
One thing that I found interesting was I'm working with like a desserts manufacturer, and one thing they're getting into is like smart packaging. So what they're doing is they're like, if you take a picture of the package, like on Snapchat for example,
Right.
it'll automatically add you to their Snapchat feed, and then they'll give you like a discount. So it's like the packaging itself is another like marketing tool, I guess you could say. And I think that's like a big opportunity to
So
integrate.
that I like, yeah.
Like one thing that we're trying to do is like, I don't know how it would be done, but if you share that photo on Instagram, you get like an automatic offer or something along those natures. And that's like integrated with the packaging. And some of the testing we're done, like people are really interested and excited, like, oh, that's cool, I can just
Right.
take a picture of the cupcake or muffin, and yeah, and it'll
Not that, if you can price compare and you can do all these things, I mean, you know, my most loved and hated company in the world, Trivago, has it right. You put in the room, up comes all of the different exact hotel rooms from all the different websites that are out there. I mean, And that's fairly easy to build and easy to do for students like you. Some of these things we're going to talk about, you know, we want to be able to do. Okay, so while some of you may come up here and come up with unbelievable ideas that cost billions of dollars, this is more like, hey, let's find something that you can absolutely, you know, do besides shoveling the snow tomorrow and make hundreds of dollars in our snowstorm that we're gonna have. But yeah, taking some of that and Facebook isolating the ads, a lot of these things that are going on, I mean, are gonna be really critical moving forward in the future. Okay, we have a busy class today because we have a couple of speakers, and I want to take a second and show you the video. Do you know where President Obama spent the last few days?
Yeah, kite running with Richard Branson.
Right, so he went with Richard Branson, one of the world's greatest entrepreneurs, and you're going to get to hear his story, you know, in 3 minutes right now on how Richard Branson became so rich that he's entertaining, you know, the President Obama. As soon as he left office, he ran off to do some kite sailing on one of Richard Branson's islands.
There was the Vietnamese War was waging, and I was against the Vietnamese War. I was 15 years old. I decided to start a magazine to campaign against it. It's called Student, and it became the sort of the national magazine for young people. The magazine didn't make much money, but it got a big circulation. About 100,000 young people bought the magazine. And one day I took an advert in the magazine, Virgin Records, 10 to 60% off any album on any label, and listed the kinds of records we liked, things like Frank Zappa rather than Andy Williams. And so it became very much the rock and roll mail order company. And then we started signing our own bands that we couldn't get other record companies to release. We released ourselves. There are bands everywhere that want to be found. It's finding the right ones. And I had a 15-year-old boy called Mike Oldfield come to me with a tape called Tubular Bells, which he'd recorded all the tracks himself. I literally went to another record company, borrowed an artist called Sandy Denny's contract, and we typed out the contract. We managed to get The Exorcist to take the music, and that took it to #1 in America. It became a phenomenal success. Moved on and signed bands like the Sex Pistols and the Rolling Stones and a lot of other iconic great bands. In those days, there was quite a lot of money to go around in the record business. A big hit album could sell 10, 15 million albums. We went into the airline business because I had record companies all over the world, and I was traveling a lot on other people's airlines. And there was one time I took a flight from Puerto Rico to the Virgin Islands, and I got bumped by American Airlines, and chartered a plane, and I came out with a blackboard, and for fun I wrote Virgin Airlines, $29, to the Virgin Islands, walked around all the people who'd been bumped. I filled up my plane, and then as I was landing, somebody said to me, sharpen up the service a bit and you could go into the airline business. And I've started 3 or 4 airlines, so Virgin Atlantic, Virgin America, Virgin Australia, and they've all gone really well. And the reason they've gone well is because they're the best airlines in their field. And if you're the best hotel or the best shop or the best club or the best airline, you survive. I mean, it's people who try to be second best who normally stumble. The key to our success is to offer people much more than they'd expect. So we offer a much better than first class product for our upper class passengers, but we charge a business class fare. We offer a class above what people would expect. We do lots of nice little things which surprise people. Just little things like, we give people an ice cream when they're watching a movie, or popcorn, or we have a limousine to and from the plane for our business class passengers. And we put seatback videos in our planes 6 years before anybody else did. We're smaller, we're more nimble. We're from the entertainment business, so we know that people like to be entertained. Virgin is always evolving. I start businesses not because I think I'm going to make money out of business. I'm not particularly interested in that. I start businesses because I think I can make a real difference. The main thing to remember, though, is if you do go out to start a business, most people fail. But most people also pick themselves up and try again and again until they finally succeed.
Don't forget, the Kaufman Foundation has a lot of these videos, and they partnered up with the Khan Academy. And there's just, I use this all the time. I mean, I like to see what smarter and more successful people have done in their life. That's the way to get rich. When you're learning, you're hearing things from people, taking you to other areas, things that you know nothing about, and teach you. And there's always an analogy, there's always a story, there's something to learn about something, you know, in every field, and in every class, by the way, you know. With all respect to the professors at Brooklyn College that I attended, you know, for 4 years, you know, it's not only about the business, it's the English and the music classes and the things, and it all kind of ties in together. And sometimes you could sit there in an English class or some philosophy class and say, how is this going to affect my life 5, 10, 15, 20 years, you know, down the line? I don't get it, you know. And well, this class is much more pragmatic, and we actually do things, and you learn things that are very functional. You know, things like music, you know, I was watching a segment today on CBS News, and I was talking about this teacher who's going to be honored by the Grammys next week. And this is a legendary choir teacher in California that over the years has taught over 2,000 students music, and many of them have gone on to great music careers. You know, he says he first makes them read the lyrics of the songs, understand what they are. Most people could tune a song and not really get what the lyrics are and what the writer intended to be, because there's a lot of interpretations, you know, in music. And some of the great music writers of our time, which one of them is a friend of mine, Ryan Tedder, who's the lead singer for the group One Republic, guy that I know for many years. You know, you have to be relatable to your audience. So if you're not relatable to your audience, they see right through that. So that's a very, very good lesson to learn about some of these things, about being relatable. Branson was very relatable because he used to fly all over the country, his groups, his music, his artists. What'd you take away from that Branson thing? I mean, it was 3 minutes. Can anybody remember anything how he made his money then?
The biggest thing was I love the airline story. So the fact is that, you know, he got bumped off the plane, and most people would see that as like, oh man, it sucks. But he seized the opportunity, and I'm sure he had some sort of resources to charter a plane, and then to be able to charter a plane, and then not only charter the plane, but then to market and get people to come to say, hey, you know, we all got kicked off the plane, why don't you just jump on mine? And then to kind of take that idea and then build a huge airline business, to me, that's the best story.
Who remembered how he started?
The newspaper.
Right. Why did he do that?
Oh, because he was against the Vietnamese War.
Right. And how did he stumble upon his first business? What did he sell through that newspaper?
He was selling records. He put discounts in the newspaper for it.
So something like that. I mean, just think about that. I mean, he controlled his own media, his own newspaper, and he got lucky. He got lucky. He could have been selling ice creams or something, but he figured out that young people needed another way to buy music, and he was able to do this little, you know, gig, and you know, so he just turned that and he parlayed that whole thing, you know, the music, and then, you know, finding groups like the Rolling Stones or the Sex Pistols to represent, because they couldn't get representation, and he had distribution. He had his magazines to sell the Rolling Stones when nobody else would pick up the Rolling Stones. So it's filling the opportunity, something that's not there, that will make your entrepreneur opportunity a success or a failure. And as he said, and you'll hear over and over, you have to keep getting up again and again, because failure is just part of this game. So you have to assume it's going to happen to you. Let's hope it happens to you sooner rather than later. Because if you go up too high and you crash too fast, you know, that's a difficult situation to be in. Okay, very good. So today we have 2 speakers from our class, and I guess the first one we're going to hear from is Vanessa Barrero.
I'm gonna go use
Ready to use
it.
it.
Alright. Alright, so I'm gonna start off with a clip.
Sorry,
Just
too
hold
loud.
on.
I'll cut the video because it's really long. But just want to get a gist of for what All-Star cheerleading is. So basically, my idea is to open an all-star gym in Brooklyn because there is not really cheerleading up north in the United States. It's really like in Kentucky and all down south. So I'm really interested in doing cheerleading. So a lot of people have the debate, oh, cheerleading's not a sport. You don't really do much. You're in a skirt, rah, rah, rah. And that's not true. It's a physical sport. I've been doing it since I was 13 years old. And I think like the concussion rate is like equal to what a football player would experience on the field. Because you're tossing girls, you're doing gymnastics, and it's a really hard sport. So for anybody that's up for debates, and it was actually deemed a sport under New York like theater regents, and it's upcoming in the Olympics. So it's getting up there. It's like something I'm really proud of, and I would love to open a gym. So that's one of my ideas that I have.
Let's stop at that 1 second. Okay.
Oh
So
God.
first of all,
I'm really nervous, by the way.
no good. So we're gonna dissect every little
Just
business
dissect.
that everybody
Dissect.
has here. Okay.
Dissect.
And, and at first glance, cheerleading, unless you have kids that are cheerleaders in school, or you're big in football, you maybe would not have ever even encountered a cheerleading experience, okay? But down south, especially
Yeah.
Texas,
Yeah.
they have major competitions. And so how are you planning on making money in this business, first of all?
Well, the range for a membership at a gym costs anywhere from $100 to $350 a month.
Okay, so this would be a cheerleading gym.
Yeah.
So instead of kickboxing or other CrossFit,
Yeah.
other specialty types of gym, this would be strictly a cheerleading gym. Any age could join.
Yeah,
To
so
learn-
there'd be different levels because it goes from age range. So it's like level 2 to level 4, and there's like, depends on like the age.
Okay, now, how much space do you need to run something like this?
Well,
And is it classes or it's individual one-on-one? How does that work?
it's run by a coach, so you usually have a coach and 2 assistant coaches that would run your class from anywhere from like 3 to 4:30, let's say. And they would go over a routine. It would include tumbling time. You would learn a dance, and then you would stunt or partner stunt.
And is there competitions for this?
Yeah,
all
and you
over?
win money. Like for first place, like at Worlds, you win like I think it's like 10,000 or something. So it depends on like the competition, and obviously publicity. Everybody wants to be on this team, so the membership increases because
Right.
based on popularity.
Okay, now, so this could be both like as a specialty gym. How many of you like it as a specialty gym idea? Let's say as an alternative to Lucille Roberts and how they have no competition. I have no idea. I mean, too much sense. A women's only gym where guys are not peering at them and they can feel comfortable in a gym. There's only one, Lucille Roberts. Doesn't make any sense. They must be making a fortune. So this is maybe an alternative gym to stay in shape besides cheerleading. How many of you like that idea? Okay, I think you have some pretty good validation from the class that they like the idea as a test gym. So that's as a gym. And I guess, like a lot of these party places, that have student parties, maybe bowling parties or any of these like Dave and Buster's, that's a big part of their business. So maybe, part of your gym could be having small kids as a cheerleading type of a party event.
Right.
Could be another great way, to do that gym. Okay, so we like your first idea.
Okay,
Go
so
ahead.
can we just keep that idea? I have to keep going.
Okay, keep on going.
Oh God. Okay. So my second idea would have to be something with clothes. I'm really into fashion. Shoes. I try to scout out differences in different types of brands, how much it costs to create certain type of clothing. So like I'll look up, for example, how much it took Nike to make that sweater and then compare it to Adidas or vice versa, and I do a little bit of reselling.
Okay, now is this closed at, what kind of business, how do you see making money out of that business?
I just feel like a lot of like brands are like taken over. So Adidas, Nike, everybody knows that, and I mean like anybody could practically create their own clothing company. Just take it to like that kind of level would be like, I mean.
Now, people take, and obviously, you know, we know about the consignment companies and the Hermes scarves and the consignment stores. Every semester, students want to get into that, and it's an interesting business that they can get into relatively inexpensively by buying on eBay and other places that sell this, and get it online or get some sort of a consignment kind of store. I think what you're thinking about is maybe new styles that come out, and we've seen a whole proliferation of this, right? The runway gowns, people buy these $1,000 gowns for their kids' weddings or other parties and events, and they really have no need for it after that. They just spent $3,000, $5,000, $10,000, you know, for a gown. There are now companies that buy those gowns and then rent them to other people, you know, for events, so that they don't have to buy a $10,000 gown. They could wear a once worn gown and they could rent it for $500 for the night. So, you know, I think there's all kinds of ways that people can make money in the clothes business, and I think it's just starting out, but it's a fickle business.
Yeah.
All right, very
So,
good. Thank you very much. That looks like a funny video. Boyfriend tries cheerleading. Okay, next we're gonna hear from Justin. All right, Justin.
Just gonna sign to my email real quick. So, my idea for a business is called Geek Lounge. Geek Lounge is a gaming, it's the ultimate gaming center for adults. Right now, 32% of gamers in the United States are between the ages of 18 to 35. So this is a target market that isn't really being served. Right now in the city alone, there's only two options. You have Dave & Buster's, which is a more of a family-friendly environment that just so happens to have a bar, and you have Barcade, which is extremely limited in their games because they focus more on classic arcade games. Geek Lounge will be the spot where you go to hang out with your friends, grab a drink, and enjoy the latest and most popular games from consoles such as PlayStation, Xbox, and Nintendo. Wow. So the way you make money in this business, the games itself is just a drawing. It's how you get people through the door, it's how you get people to sit down and enjoy it. The way you really make money is to keep them there. Food, drinks, like every other bar and restaurant. But what else makes Geek Lounge different from most is what me and my partners do plan to do, and that's also holding tournaments. Most popular games, you have Madden tournaments, you have Call of Duty one-on-one tournaments. These tournaments will be played in Geek Lounge and streamed through Twitch and YouTube. That's my idea.
How many of you like that idea?
Can I give them an idea?
I'm sorry, fantastic idea. Go, Joe.
Like you said, Geek Lounge is a great idea, but usually you can only have a certain limited amount of TV screens and consoles for a thing. So for me, a good idea for your company would be, like I went to Hibachi, they will have a bunch of video games. While you played it, they put a timer on them. So every time, like an hour of a game, they're gonna charge you $60.
Okay.
So why don't you do something like that? You increase your chance to get money, and if the person doesn't have money, get the next person to come and play the game.
You're saying like a pool hall?
Yes.
So you rent out the table for a certain amount of time?
Yeah.
So the way to expand this, what just dawns on me, that jumps out at me, is that people always like to win money. That's never gonna change. Like psychics and horoscopes, there's a few things that just never ever change. And 1,000 years from now, winning money is always gonna be in. And luckily, for you, in these type of games, the way you could only win money legally is it has to be a game of skill. So it doesn't matter whether we're playing one of your games, or we're shooting basketball hoops, or we're bowling. That's a legal way to do this. So if you can actually have competitions throughout the day, weekends, nights where people are gonna win money, play against other people, and tournaments, non-stop tournaments. Plus the people who just wanna watch. I mean, I know when I watch these guys play, it's out of control. I mean, how fast and how good some of these gaming players are. It's exciting to watch, and it's getting bigger. We've heard about these tournaments, okay? That whole Comic-Con type of geek kind of thing is getting out of control because this generation, they used to watch, the baby boomers that still watch a tremendous amount of television, never really adapted to this market like the millennials did, or as you said, the 18 to 35-year-olds. They really got into gaming in a big way, you know, and the consoles and the Wiis and the PlayStations and the Xboxes that made an absolute fortune. It kept probably Microsoft in business, you know, Xbox, you know, you can't do everything. And certainly with artificial intelligence and Facebook betting the whole house on Oculus that's going to be their big money maker in the future. I mean, they're putting a lot of dough behind that. They're hoping that their users are going to play a lot of games and use that because that's their future. Because once Snapchat goes public in a couple of weeks, you know, I think it's going to be all bets off. Snapchat's going to have $25 billion to start playing and buying and getting into Facebook space. So it's going to be a difficult space. All right, we like the idea. Thanks very much. I'm going to take a second and watch this Mark Echo footage, which was really great. Everyone know who Mark Echo is? Okay.
My name is Mark Echo. I am by nature an artist. I came up at a time when it was a very unique window in popular culture. Hip hop was emerging. There was an entrepreneurial virus that is hip hop that rock and roll didn't quite have in the same way. There was a little bit more self-loathing amongst the rock set in terms of the commercialization of their work, where in hip hop it's been embraced to go create industry around your ideas. It's become a part of the ecosystem because it's coming from nothing, right? And there's kind of this implied element of social justice as well in the business, born out of like what is hip hop and street culture. So that's kind of baked into the DNA of what we do. I love this fact that folks are making something from nothing in my peer set. We're finding value basically in the ether amongst themselves. 4 rappers would get together, rhyme in a circle, and all of a sudden it was like, oh, let's make a mixtape, right? From nothing. I wanted to fit into that ecosystem. I couldn't rap, I couldn't break dance, right? But I did connect to art, so I kind of started to parrot the art of graffiti and started painting t-shirts. I loved the emotive, the feedback, both the financial feedback that someone would pay me as a 15-year-old kid to make them this t-shirt, and then they'd wear it with such pride and kind of beat their chest. And there was that kind of emotional transaction that was really powerful and created the feedback loop to want me to go and dig deeper and pull on that thread and keep unfolding what eventually became this path of entrepreneurship. It wasn't like I onboarded because someone said, be an entrepreneur, right? I onboarded because I wanted to realize my dream. And I was an emotional, artistic kid, and graffiti, it was kind of the extreme sport of art. That was a moment of luck for me. So many people are like, oh, graffiti's a gateway to crime, right? For me, it was a gateway to entrepreneurship. Go figure. I've really kind of been a curator of like pop culture for, let's say, male 16 to 40. And that's been my lane, having come up in the 80s around hip hop and and skateboarding culture and kind of the emergence of technology. I've just kind of trafficked in my hobbies. The things that I consumed as a kid are now the business. Young people know instinctively what it is they need to do. They just need to go out there and get it done. Shifting from what is effectively a consumer mindset to believing in themselves to be a producer. Going from I am consumer of X to I am maker of Y. Right? That's an aspiration that is, amongst all of us, but some of us, we just don't know how to do it. We kind of doubt ourselves. Why is it that you go to a classroom of kindergartners, you ask them, who in this room is an artist? Everybody raise their hand. You ask that same cohort, 20 years later, no one raises their hand, maybe one guy, and they look at him like he's a freak. Something's wrong there. You have to connect to your artist, your instigator. It's right brain, it's left brain, it's chocolate, it's peanut butter. You have to find that.
Mark Echo, clearly a winner, was able to really take hip hop, take graffiti to another level. Look how he said, graffiti, when most people thought of graffiti, they thought of crime. And like he said, the trains in the 19th.
My name is Mark Echo. I created clothing.
Part two of his speech. I should probably let this roll. Anybody have any comments about Mark Echo, just generally speaking? Anyone ever buy his clothes at all? Used to, okay. Do you think that his brand is kind of going down, or?
Yeah.
Okay, so his brand is going down. So here you take something that you build your brand up, and obviously he's so proud of this brand, okay? Nothing stays forever. You better pivot, you better twist, you better see. So let's see what happened with this company.
My name is Mark Echo. I created a clothing company about 20 years ago called Echo Unlimited, and have built many different disparate consumer product companies off of that. Someone's throwing punches at you, you kind of figure it out. You take a couple of shots to the head, you stand back up, you try not to take them so much, try to figure out ways to evade them and to return, right? I think the spirit of realizing your side hustle and your passion and pursuing your passion is less academic than we paint it. You just have to be prepared to know that the learning's just never ever gonna end. I remember a moment when I started to go from just t-shirts, where it was just my art, screen printing, where that production cycle was kind of very tactical, I knew it. But the minute I started to go to cut and sew, or like outerwear, right? Now you're dealing with seams. I remember sending my first drawing over to the manufacturer for a first piece of outerwear. And I remember I based it on a prototype of a jacket that I had bought for, let's say, just for the conversation's sake, $50. I get back the quote from the manufacturer based on my drawing, and the price is like $35, like the cost. I'm the wholesaler that's going to sell it to the retailer, so 35 times 4 is effectively what it's going to cost at retail. So, what's that, $140, right? So I'm thinking to myself, I based it on a jacket that was $50. What's going on? Why is it so expensive? He said, well, the consumption. I said, it was a learning moment. Consumption? Consumption, isn't that what you do when you eat? What do you mean the consumption? Well, your sleeves, the way you design the sleeves, you don't want a seam here. I'd drawn effectively a jacket that had no seam here. It was in my naiveness of designing it, I just forgot to put the seam. So it turned out that the way that they were going to have to cut the fabric in the paper pattern was going to consume more of the yardage. And so it made production more wasteful. Designing something without fully comprehending the limitations on the production side, how suddenly that became the rabbit hole to learn production. If you've got a dream, go realize it, right? And be prepared to have it hurt. And be prepared for the dirty secret, which is it's going to be lots of little failures that make success. How can you realize your voice, your passion, and what can you glean from these lessons? And I tell you, the gateway, the pearl to true education is a tolerance and acceptance and the embrace of failing and knowing it's going to be painful. What's there for you? What are you going to make of it? What's your brand? Look in the mirror. Why don't you ask yourself? So you're not unique in having those questions. You have to discover that path. It is a self-motivated, self-directed journey. And if you don't know, figure it out, even if it's just 10 yards in front of you, and work to get to those 10 yards, and then figure out the next 10 yards, and then the next.
Can't say it any better, and especially when people who've done this, it'll save you a lot of work, a lot of hassles at watching some of this, because they've gone through it. We've all had our failures. I've had monumental failures. Didn't always work out. Okay, so when it does happen, when the success finally does happen to every one of you, believe me, it's not going to happen on the first try. Maybe you'll get lucky, and some of this stuff will happen on the first try, but it usually doesn't. Let's go quick around the room about your homeworks. Who is your favorite entrepreneurs? Curious to start.
Henry Ford.
Okay, why?
Just because I relate to tinkering with things, and just from a young age being interested in like machinery and engines.
Interesting how that assembly line works, right?
Yeah.
When you find something that works, you can just crank it out. Absolutely.
Oprah Winfrey.
Okay, why Oprah?
Because when she obtained her money, the things that she was able to do to donate to charities, I really appreciate it. So like when people hit the top, sometimes they forget where they started, and she gives back. So I really.
Yeah, no, she did a wonderful job. I mean, how she took that brand right to the top's amazing. Yeah.
The person I chose was Blake Ricciardi. He started a brand, California-based clothing company called Popular Demand. And to expand the brand, he used with the biggest thing that was blowing up at the time, which was social media, mostly Vine. Everyone was looking at those public figures. So what he did was he invited them over and he gave them free merchandises. They started wearing them in their videos. People saw it and got attracted to the brand.
Right. Well, look how you could do that right out of social media.
I picked Tyler Dykman.
Right.
He started a computer repair business when he was really young, and he was always fascinated with technology. And that was really similar to me when I was younger. I was always really interested in computers, especially the hardware side of things. And so I really related to his story of coming up, and he was babysitting a Goldman Sachs employee, and then that led him to work at Goldman Sachs. And so I really like the way that he transitioned from kind of learning about computers on his own time to repairing computers to finding an opportunity, and then eventually working for Goldman Sachs and founding more and more companies.
Fabulous. Okay, Joe.
For me, it was Steve Jobs, because not only did he co-founded a company, he was also doing many other things while the company was still in place, like being a CEO of Pixar, I believe.
Right.
And creating another computer company, NXT or Next?
Next.
Next.
Yeah. Did several things at one time. Absolutely brilliant man. Great loss.
So I don't want to be tied down to, I will be focusing on that company, but I want to expand as well.
Sure. You don't want to get bored.
Not to sound unoriginal, but I was going to choose the exact same thing, Steve Jobs.
Right.
The same exact reasons for his vision of not thinking in one area, but go beyond that.
Thought out of the box. I don't know how proud he'd be of his company right now. I mean, it's certainly tenuous times, and for those of you who were here last week, you heard my thoughts about this phone, right? That it's soon going to be sold for $10 in every 7-Eleven, and your music, your data, whatever services you end up getting, and it's almost all free, right? Pandora, everything's free. Google, Facebook. What do you need? And this thing actually may end up being free. It may end up being free, and they'll make their money on advertising that pops up on this thing. Okay, so it wouldn't surprise me if phones are given away for free. The latest and the greatest phone. The faster the better, because more money the guy that gives it away can absolutely make. Okay, who's next? Yes.
So I also chose Steve Jobs, but it was mainly to the fact that when I think of Steve Jobs, I think of somebody who who gave the market something that the market didn't know they wanted, right? Because nobody knew they wanted like an iPhone, nobody knew what it was. But he created like a smartphone and an iPod before it was like popular, right? He was the one who started out the whole market. He created everything. And to add on to what Joseph said, he didn't just stick to Apple. He was in many companies, right? And he was expanding his thoughts, constantly creating, constantly trying to make himself better.
Great. Absolutely, no doubt.
I think the same guy that Steve did. What's his name?
Tyler,
Yeah, no, who starts with computers.
Yes.
It's mostly because like that was also my passion. Like every time some piece of technology broke, I never like bothered to buy. I was more like soldering irons and always took stuff apart and always put it back together and I always like try to like make it work even though it didn't work half of the time. I just broke it instead of like repairing it. So I just did it myself. I felt like I have to fix it myself. If I broke it, I have to fix it.
Okay.
I didn't have to, like, I didn't have the idea to like make money off it. I should have taken that.
Well, that all comes when you find your passion you love. The money making will come out.
I chose Warren Buffett.
Okay.
As far as value investing, he's like the king in that. And I just think he's a great person, like what he does philanthropy and all that. I'm trying to do that eventually.
Sure. Great story, Warren Buffett. You should take a look. There's a show on HBO right now on Warren Buffett and how he made his money. It's on demand on HBO. If you get a chance, take a look at it. It's quite interesting, and many more people should be Warren Buffett's when you see what he does. Okay.
I just wanted to, I like Oprah as well. I think she's very, very strong personality, and her giving back to the environment, to people, it's very important. I feel like once people they become rich and they just forget about giving back to the society. So I've never seen somebody give more than her.
Sure, absolutely. She's done great things, no doubt about it.
I forgot his last name, but it was Seth something, and he was the inventor or CEO of Insomnia Cookies.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I picked him because he didn't like plan anything. It just happened. Like when he was cramming for his exam, and then he was hungry, so he made cookies, and then everybody liked his cookies, so he started selling cookies. And I feel like that's me because I'm like, I don't really plan anything. It just happens. I feel like just by living your life normally, going places and actually being active, it just comes to you. That's my mindset.
And I think your mindset's 100% correct. I think that those that don't go out there and do things, that don't visit or don't make the effort to network, doing themselves not a good favor at all. It's not gonna happen by accident. You have to go make it happen. Okay.
I also chose Warren Buffett, and I was looking into his story, and what stuck out to me is he didn't really think of anything revolutionary. He didn't invent an iPhone or anything.
No.
All of his investing ideas, most of them were founded from Benjamin Graham. So he pretty much just observed his environment. He learned everything and implemented it to the best he could. And he thought differently. He wasn't thinking as everyone else says, because he has a famous quote, when everyone's fearful, be greedy, and when everyone's greedy, be fearful. So he pretty much just has the opposite of investing tactic of what almost everyone has. And just original thought and implementing himself so well, he's been able to build himself up so high.
Sure, he's a value investor, Warren Buffett. What he does is he buys established companies, or he buys the stock in established company. He's one of the largest owners of Coca-Cola. Why? Because he loves Coke himself. He drinks Coca-Cola every day. He says, so somebody else must love Coke as well. He owns big railroad companies. He owns jewelry companies. He owns See's Candy. He owns a lot of different diversified companies, all of them that made money. So he buys companies that have strong managers and owners that run these companies. That's what he does. That's his whole business, is buying other companies that maybe or maybe not have some synergy with some of his other companies that he has, So maybe he'll buy a cocoa company that will supply his candy company with the cocoa that they need. You know, that's the type of thing, I don't know if that's what he's done or not, but that's the type of thing that he would look at doing. Okay.
I chose Sean Belnick from BizShare, and I did it because he and I both have similar backgrounds. He was selling Pokemon cards as a kid. I was selling candy out of the back of my locker when I was in high school. And I love that he used his skills in HTML and web design along with his network, which was his stepfather, who was office furniture salesman, and that's how he got started at the age of 15, I believe.
Right. Okay, very, very good.
I picked Richard Branson because I like the fact that he didn't really have a plan to go into these different fields. Like, he just went with what was his passion at the time. It seemed like writing. So he did that, and then the next door opened up, and he went with that. He didn't really, like, I just like the fact that he didn't say, oh, I have to get into the airline business, and that was his goal. He did A, and then when B came around, he went from B to C, and he just go from A right to Z.
Absolutely, no doubt about it. He's a true entrepreneur. Okay.
I chose Ashley Graham. She is a model for Wilhelmina, and she started about 10 years ago when being like curvy wasn't really in, and then she was the first curvy model on the cover of Sports Illustrated. And she also has just like, the reason why she's my favorite entrepreneur is because she's built up her brand, like literally of herself. She branded herself, and now she's a judge on America's Next Top Model. She has a swimwear line for more curvy women. So she really just like stayed true to herself and worked hard on like literally branding herself and using Instagram and using social media as a platform to bring awareness, you know, to being curvy and accepting yourself, and also making a ton of money off of herself.
No doubt. I mean, we've seen that in a lot of people, you know, Kathy Ireland, Jessica Alba, who have built brands around their names. I guess good and bad. I mean, if something, you know, I felt really bad for Jessica Alba when they were trying to come down on her, that they were testing her products on animals, and you know, she's so against all of those things. And then something like that, some reporter, whether it's fake news or real news, who knows what it is, but once you get branded, you get branded. I mean, that's just the way it happens out there. So, you know, you got to be careful building yourself, your brand around just one person. All right, so we're going to continue our Young Entrepreneur Series, and we're going to talk about the idea today. Oh, I'm sorry about that. Young ladies, go again. I'm sorry.
I also chose Oprah. Besides from the stuff that Oprah mentioned, she also started very poor, and like unlike other famous people, she didn't have a parent that like owned a talk show or like they were rich. And it's really incredible how she got to where she is now, and she's really inspiring.
No doubt about it. Listen, most entrepreneurs that you're going to see and you're going to meet or that you're going to watch online started from nothing. Started like you, started like me. I mean, very few people, you know, were the son or daughter of a Sam Walton from Walmart, you know, that ended up in that game. It's really more the hustlers that are out there.
I chose Steve Jobs, mainly because of his passion for the graphics. Like, I kind of realized that when Steve Jobs was doing the Macintosh or whatever, he went to a calligraphy class, and he was amazed about how the calligraphy was done by hand and everything, and he wanted to apply it into a computer. And I kind of think that the way he sees the outside art, and wanted to imply it into a computer, it kind of like, I feel it inside me, like I want to make the graphics better and the letters and stuff. That was.
How many of you are passionate like that? I mean, like fastidious to a point where, like every little round corner, you know, must be like perfect. Just by show of hands, how many of you are perfectionists by nature? Now, let me see this little. Just if you're really a perfectionist. If not, okay. So about a third of the class are perfectionists. So perfectionists. I'm sorry?
I'm sorry, was it all women or was some men as well?
No, I think that it was a little bit probably even, but that's a good observation. But yeah, listen, perfectionists in their life can't, you know, and there's a big difference. When I go out and take meetings and I see people's offices and desks, I mean, you know right away who are perfectionists. I mean, there's not an ounce of dirt or dust or anything, you know, around their desk. I don't know what they do with all the papers, you know. It must be all on their computers because it's not on their desks, you know. And you would think that busy people, especially lawyers, have lots of paper on their desks. Files after files, they're talking to so many different cases and judges, so they're usually very busy. But, you know, you get to see, and being, you know, keeping yourself really clean and focused, you know, and by being, you know, as clean as you can up to a point, will help focus your mind in general. Okay, we're going to listen now to about the idea, because everybody here, I believe, has an idea for their business. And we're going to hear from some of our great entrepreneurs on how they got to decide their idea. Okay, let's talk a little bit about the subscription model, one of my favorite models, and ones I think you should be focusing on. Just going to go very quickly. We only have like another 5-10 minutes left in this class. But I can tell you, next great fortunes are going to be made in the subscription box business, just like you're seeing up there right now. So let's just go around the room. Any business, any industry, any product, anything that you can think, we're going to get you to turn, okay? I just want to go around the room. I just want to take a quick pulse. You know, we're entrepreneurs in this room. You know, you saw Birchbox. They're going to do hundreds of millions of dollars a year in business, these two girls. Okay, they just started it, and it just took off like nobody's business.
Subscriptions?
Yes.
First thing I could think of was Netflix.
Netflix, okay. So Netflix has already been done, okay? I'm not saying that there's
You're
not.
saying new business.
Yeah, new business. We're just looking around the room and see if we can come up with some sort of a great business idea that we can cultivate a little bit stronger in this class. Because I love the subscription business. And I don't want to put you on the spot. I'm putting you on the spot.
Delivering dog food.
Okay.
On a weekly
Why not?
basis.
Why not? People need dog food, so why not? I think that could probably work well.
Trying to think.
Go ahead.
I mean, I was thinking of something similar to Postmates.
Okay.
So I don't know, it's a class notes.
How about part of your business? How about we send them a piece of some sort of clothes item every month? If they don't like it, they send it back. Or a hat.
I saw
or
it on Shark Tank actually, where they were trying to, for people that traveled and didn't want to carry luggage with them, they had them send like outfits depending on your taste in clothes and your size, and they would ship it to your hotel. But it got rejected.
Okay. Oh, okay. They didn't like that. Good.
The only idea I have is like colognes.
Why not? I mean, I would probably sign up for something like that. I mean, $10 a month to get a new cologne or something that comes in. It's a brilliant idea, by the way. I like that one a lot, cologne. And by the way, a lot of these samples, like Calvin Klein and a lot of the big manufacturers give you for free. They want to just get their name out there as well.
I was thinking of, I'm an avid reader,
Right.
and so one of my biggest struggles is coming up with new books to read or something interesting to read. So I was really toying around with like a book box, like a book subscription service. And so what it is at the start of every month, you know, you get a book, and actually you can either choose to give that book back and exchange it to somebody else, or keep it in your library if you want.
I love it. I think it's a great idea. Books are a good one. Not sure why it hasn't been done. I guess the Kindle and the electronic books is where it's all about. But books is a good one. People would rent them, you know, and give it back, like a library. Joe.
One of my ideas was we usually forget holidays, anniversaries, and stuff like that, especially
Right.
the men, in which they get in trouble with their wives.
Yeah.
So I was thinking of, I noticed an app to only give you reminders, so I was kind of thinking of an app that can actually, while you pay a subscription service, they can actually send you gifts, so you don't have to
Fantastic.
remember to buy the gifts.
Wonderful. And when you be a really great husband and you want to have a happy life, have a happy wife,
So you don't have
maybe
to
make
buy
that a
it.
monthly subscription. It's flowers one month, it's a box of chocolates the next month. Baby, every month is Valentine's Day. Up the poppy. Great idea. I like that. Go ahead.
Upgrade it. Off the top of my head, hard.
Could be anything. Anything. Just think of anything.
thinking something along the lines of food, because
Perfect. What food?
Any-
You're on the right line. What food do you think people would like to get every month?
Every month, like essentials, probably, like groceries and stuff, because stuff that you need every month. So
Yeah, you keep in mind what they're doing at Birchbox, okay? You're on the right line. Let me help you a little bit. The different fruit of the month. An exotic fruit that comes to your house. Honeybell oranges. Only 1 month out of the year they make honeybells, and that juice of a honeybell orange is unlike any other orange you've ever tasted in your life. So maybe something like that.
So I was thinking about like people, they get really busy or they don't actually know what to do in their area, right? So I was thinking that for my subscription, you tell me what you like to do.
Ooh,
or what
I
you
like
would like
that.
to do, right?
Some sort of a monthly
Yeah.
in your area
And then,
coupons of stuff
like
to
you
do.
tell me how many people you're with for like certain weeks or whatever, or certain events coming up, and then I send you like tickets or reservations to places. You pick out what you want to do, all the things you want to do, and then you send me back whatever you don't want. Like you could have Yankee tickets, Mets tickets. You could go to like restaurants. Just me telling you what's out there, what you can possibly do.
An insider's guide to what to do is a good idea. I like it.
I was thinking maybe of like some monthly like house cleaning service, like or like bi-weekly, people clean their
A
house.
cleaning
then,
service of the month kind of thing. You're
yeah,
giving
like,
somebody
like
as
you
a
don't
Christmas
you don't ever
present.
clean it. You just this one day, this every week, someone's gonna come by and clean it, or there's something like an app where somebody requests some service to be done in their house, and people with the right skills can just attend to that
Could be.
services.
It could be. I think you gotta cultivate that a little more.
I really like the whole resale and fashion industry, and I would like to do something where you would get like a different item every single month. So it'll be like something new, creative. Like it could be either a hoodie, a T-shirt, maybe just a patch, something different.
Sure, why not? Absolutely.
I would go back to cleaning. I love cleaning, and I have a house. I have a hard time cleaning the garage and taking the trash out. So where I live, the trash goes out every Tuesday and Saturday. And I would like for somebody to like come and, because I have children, so we have like a lot of garbage. So somebody can like come every Tuesday and Saturday at this time to take out my trash where I won't have to do that. So if there's an app where you're telling them, hey, I'm here, we can come down.
So one of the biggest companies in the world right now is this 1-800-GOT-JUNK, right? You hear their ads all over the place.
Yeah.
They see their trucks, they come there, point that it's gone. That's their claim to fame. Point. And they have a radio ad running right now. It's 10 o'clock at night, and the guys show up at the guy's place and they take away their junk. So yeah, I think that's a good idea. It must be a huge business, junk. So you have somebody there to talk about. Maybe there's a good business.
A lot of albums drop every month, so that you don't get bored of one particular genre. You subscribe to this website or app.
So a new music site, it's stuff that you not normally get somewhere that maybe is not on Pandora or Spotify. This is like an underground kind of thing. Yeah, I think music could definitely work.
I had two actually. One is for groceries, where you pay like a certain flat rate every month, and weekly you get to choose the amount of type of groceries you want, and they get delivered weekly to your house. And the second would be unlimited transport, like Ubers. And what that would work is you could start it in your borough or your city, and you get like 2 free rides a day, and you have to pay a certain monthly subscription for that.
I like it. I mean, a one price, all you can get kind of thing. I mean, they tried that on the airlines, by the way. Like JetBlue has a $10,000 annual pass. You can fly anywhere with restrictions, but that's a good one. Somebody should try that one. I think that's a really good idea. I heard on the radio today that Uber is just teaming up with Zipcar, so that Zipcar could be rented by somebody who only wants to drive once a week for Uber. Okay, that was a really smart idea. So you don't have to get involved with car leases, long-term insurance. You want to drive for a day, make your $100, you go to Zipcar, and you're all done. Okay, good.
textbooks are expensive. So I'm thinking a subscription service where you pay every month and you can go on the website, look what textbooks you need, and have it shipped to your house.
Textbooks are good, I like that. So, I mean, any type of books, textbooks kind of thing is a good idea as well.
I was thinking sample sporting goods because I know a lot of times I read the reviews online and you can't really gauge whether somebody wants the same thing as you. So maybe you get it for like a week or two, try it out and send it back.
Sample sporting goods kind of thing. Interesting.
I have two. So one is like kind of like Birchbox, but for like ethnic people. So like there's a huge market for like mixed girls, like mixed hair products or darker skin.
Yep.
So maybe like doing something like Birchbox, but more towards the ethnic community.
Good. Let me stop you right there. Love that idea. How many like that idea? A specialized Birchbox. They can't take the time. And specialists always make more money. Like in medicine, the specialist makes all the money, while the GP, is working 100 hours a week. So I like that. Go on. Let's see.
And then my other one is I have a car here in the city, but I don't always I might be tired or something. I might not have time to move it for opposite side parking.
Right.
So maybe you could have you pay $10 a month or what, I don't know, and someone will move your car for you. They're on opposite sides.
That's interesting.
That would be more towards the lazy people.
It's a service industry. People would do that. It's like walking a dog or something. We're gonna just drive someone's car. Okay.
I was thinking maybe baby clothes, because when my baby cousin was a few weeks old, I bought her clothes that were for 3 months old babies, and she grew out of them really fast. So I was thinking maybe.
How cute is that? So every month they get a 3-month, then a 6-month, then a 12-month, and you buy it, you forget about it, you bought a gift, and it's the gift that keeps on giving. I mean, you could have just shook up and changed the whole baby industry with that idea, okay? Because baby only stays a baby. I have 3 of them. They stay only a baby so long, and that's that. So having something like that pushing forward is a really good idea. Good one.
Okay, so I was also thinking about the food industry, but for my thinking, I was monthly subscription for a recipe, a special recipe every month, and then we provide with the ingredients necessary.
I like that. The food industry where you get something different. It could be some sort of from any culture or what have you. You can get it from there. Good ideas. I'm glad you're able to do this exercise on the spot. I'll see you all in a couple of weeks, okay? Have a good week.